All right. All right. Dope. We're going now. Copy. All right. Here. We are live. Hope this is working. I'm hoping it actually is coming up. It doesn't look like it. Well, it looks like it. Okay. Close. All right. I think everything is running now. And I'm live. I see it live. Click it. Yeah, there we go. We're good. All right. Hello to the no one that's here right now. Hello. How's it going? I'm back. I'm live. I'm just gonna get going because I wanted to paint the Knight Valiant, or at least paint the base today, and go through a couple things. Oh, see, there's a Sonam. Hi. Just have to change a couple things. Hmm? Oh, that's easy to fix. Oop. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Alpheus. Okay. Can this stop moving on me? I have a new setup I'm trying, so trying to get it to stay is going to be interesting. Huh?
Straighten it. It's really annoying when it's not straight.
There we go. That's a... there we go. Oh, what's wrong with the audio? Something wrong with it? Laggy Skype call. Oh, that's weird. Sonam's listening and it's... Maybe it might be the stream. I don't know what's going on with that side, but... Interesting. Sounds good on your side, Sonam?
Yeah, and I'm on my own trip. I do my own YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I fixed it. Okay. Excellent. All right. Apparently the two times speed didn't reset once it caught up. Oh, because you're trying it from the very beginning. All right. Okay. That makes a bit of sense. All right. So, welcome. Hey, Alpheus. I'm just going to be today, I'm going to be trying to paint up a bit of the Valiant. Mostly I'm going to be working on the base E thing here. Because I want it to look like concrete. Now, I used the, what was it? The Golden Demon winning thing for the thumbnail because I'm trying to make him look like he's running along this base. So I adjusted the feetsies a little bit so that way it looks like it's running a little bit more on his shoulders, trying to see how that works. But I'm going to be trying best with colors a little bit and see. Base needs more details. Flat concrete with pipe is a little... Yes, that's the thing, is the colors are going to make the difference on what the base will look like. Because it is supposed to just be flat concrete, but then I'm going to be painting in cracks, I'm going to be painting in color, and it's going to be a lot of green, because mostly the color scheme is a triad off of Mephiston red. So the base is going to be basically the inverted triad of that. So that way it kind of pops with the color a little bit. Most of the other knights that I've actually painted all have that kind of flat concrete look, but with blood on the bottom. So it makes it a little bit interesting. But this will be more interesting just simply because of coloring. So I'm just going to get started. Oh no. Oh, that's gross. Feels like you need more bits as well. Yeah, so that's actually something I'm thinking about is it'll be more interesting once it's color, but I'm gonna try and see if I can get like little paper pieces on there as well. So like printing out like the little mini posters, cutting them up, and then actually using PVA glue to put them around in different places. So like the Emperor needs you, propaganda kind of things. But I'm gonna add those in afterwards essentially. It'll make more sense once the whole thing is completed, essentially. right? Because like right now it's just started. Everything's boring. But because I'm using an inverted triad of the red, those three colors are basically going to be, what is it? Green, purple, and brown. So the brown's going to be a lot of the base colors. So then the concrete will pop a little bit, but the purple is basically going to be a shadow color all over, especially for, especially on, what was it? On the Knight itself. So that way at least they're unified with the purplish color as the bound drop. Yo, Nickel. Like having lots of 3D structures on my bases. Yeah, I usually do too, but for the Knights I find like I want it to be more color than I want it to be I want it more color based than I do want it to be more three-dimensional. Take less away from the model itself. The purple is going to be like hard color or hard shadows. I did see a guy do some great night bases that were just flat. Yeah, I've been trying. It's been a while. Yeah, no, it has been a bit. I've just been kind of trying to get things together over the last little bit, and a lot of things have come up that I just haven't had the time to do streaming. I did tournaments and stuff, so like I had to finish up a couple stuff outside of streaming just to get those to do the tournaments. But no, and I've been doing some outside work that I'm going to be actually integrating into the channel over the next little bit too, which I will have more discussion on over time. Painted city streets and bike lanes on his. Ooh, yeah, that's actually really cool. See, that's why I kind of wanted to go with the more flat, because it's going to be the concrete. Oops. Yeah, whatever. So I wanted to go more interest in around it, because also when I'm done I'm going to try and paint in the cracks for the where the Knight is, to make it look like it's actually running on cracks and it's cracking the concrete beneath its feet. I don't have any of the Knights to show off to show that. All right, posted a picture of them in the Discord. Let's see. Ooh, okay, that's really cool. And it's also because they all mix together. That actually makes it really nice. That is pretty dope. Also, this is going to look very ugly with all the purple first to get the shadows in. So I'm just doing it and accepting it. That's a shame. Also, nice tournaments, fair enough. I moved away from 40k since it's Age of Sigmar, Middle Earth. Doesn't stop me from starting an old. Yeah. 100%. Like I said, I have some projects that I'm going to be bringing up. I mean, I've been still listening to books and stuff. Like, I actually went through the whole Siege of Terra series on my... just because I was actually really interested in trying to go through it. Which, series-wise, was actually pretty good. Hoping... Oh, crap, I'm not in the view. Still getting the... I also wanted to test out the new setup too, because I have... I've tried something with the phone or my camera just to make it a little bit more detail that you can see as I'm painting, instead of it just being kind of boring. Like way too high up, you can't see the detail, you can't see actually what I'm doing. I saw that I would have tuned in, but I haven't read the last. I see. That's why I just said screw it and went straight into the Siege of Terra. I was not interested in trying to read any of the other Horus Heresy stuff. I just wanted to see what was going on because they kind of made it so it is individualized. So it's not, you don't need the rest of the Horus Heresy to read it, but you kind of do. I legitimately thought that Garviel Loken, when I first started reading, was a space wolf. And I got no indication of it being anything else otherwise for a while. But that's also just because the first book is kind of garbage. Like, Solar War is not a good book. Yeah, this is gonna look so ugly to start. I heard they did My Man Loken dirty. It makes me... Yeah. Fuck Erebus. They did him quite dirty. I will be very, very straight. He was a good character. I actually really liked how they set up his story, how they were doing it, even through from what I got from in the Siege of Terra. Yeah, but they did him super dirty. Let's see. Music still chill? Yeah, good level for the music. Let's see. Definitely a good job of setting up Erebus as the most hated character. Yeah. I mean, he already was, but they just really just hammered it home that Erebus is at fault for everything. And why is he still alive? Let's see. I think I need more shadow over here. No one likes Erebus. I don't even think the Chaos. Yeah. 100%. Even his grandma hates him. When your grandma hates you, that's a bad sign. This looks horrendous. Fully know this looks horrendous. God. Ugh. Not good. Alright. Alright. Only looks like this for right now. There is always an ugly stage. Accept it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't let the ugly stage stop it. I don't like that they changed the horse. Yeah, no, this is definitely the ugly ending. The ugly stage. And it is not going to get much better from here. Because there's going to be some browns added. Ugh. Also, this brush is going to get absolutely destroyed. I think I decided that Oak Brown was the... Because the Monster Brown is the more... Yeah, Leather Brown is better of what I was thinking about. I can't wait for the 40K. So... Oh, yeah, no, this purple is one of my favorite purples. The Hex Purple is I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's what I use for almost anything that is purple as a base color. But what was it that changed to the ending? Like, what changed specifically? Because it seemed like it fit mostly with what it was originally there. Ugh. Ew. Or at least from what I understand, like, I thought it worked quite well. Can't wait for. Oh yeah. There's gonna be a lot of stippling and. Yu-Gi-Oh! Card fight and Horus. Horus word at the end also. Horus was destroying the original, but the big winning, so I forgive you. I kind of enjoyed it because it was supposed to be more metaphysical than it was actually a fight. So the card fight made sense, especially because they had put more importance to the tarot throughout most of the rest of it. So it was a nice, like, at least it wasn't an out of nowhere. Whoopsie, here's some Yu-Gi-Oh! Card battles. It made sense to me, at least. Also, yeah, if they were specifically trying to go for the TTS reference, I think was pretty good. Of course, we didn't get a Magnus doing a TTS, but that's fine. I did also find it utterly hilarious how basically the story of who stood in the way of Horus killing the Emperor. All versions of whatever the story was. It was a guardsman. It was a space marine. It was a Grey Knight. It was a custodian. They're all true. No need to pick favorites. All of it was true. Oh, this is gonna be so ugly for so long. Ugh. Yeah, because it was always the question of like who stood in the way of Horus, and they just each group had their own individual, like, it was a guardsman, it was this, it was that, and like they kind of made callbacks to it earlier in the siege with the guardsman Pearson in goddamn, which book was it? Oh, that was Saturnine. Yeah, because it was all based on stories that were overblown, and like Saturnine was so goddamn good. Step. All right. Trying to bring some more of the purple into the brown. Oops, didn't mean for that. All right. Crap, which brown was I using? Leather brown. Let's see. What is this? Curios Steel Legion, Guantanamo Bay Camp, and in real. What? What is going on in the Discord? I'm just waiting for 4th edition AOS because it's been more than 2 years. Yeah, it's... If they use the system that they kind of have with 40k now, they could just keep the edition going. Just change the detachments and it wouldn't be too much of an issue. You don't need to change the base rules all the time. To be fair, yeah, I noticed that it was a much more module than what the like current 40k rules are, which is really neat. Yo, gonna go watch the show? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't think I'll stop from them making another edition in 3 years. Yeah. That's the thing, like, they don't need to. They could just keep making detachment rules and be fine. They don't need to keep changing the rules. But I do really like 10th edition right now. It could be a step towards what they want to. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, it is going to be slow changes over time that they're doing, which I completely understand. And I like I said, I like 10th a lot. I found out I can't shoot out of open top transports, Bren carrier, murder boxes. The Bren carrier? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Emu? Also, hello. Good to see you. Both of my irons kind of get screwed anyway, so I hope they get a rework in 4th. Yeah, I hope so. I have a friend of mine that actually is doing Skaven Army right now, and I'm sure he's super, super hype that Skaven is kind of getting a lot of new stuff. Bolt action, and it's that time once again, 6 months to get into bolt. Nope. It's not the time to get into bolt action. No one's getting into bolt action. Bolt action is like fetch. It's not gonna happen. I am. Fair. You can get into it. Okay, so I'm happier with the way this transition's happening now. You're mistaken. I've been where they make bolt action. It's a fun place to visit. Oh, I imagine it's pretty fun. I have actually never even tried bolt action, so I can't speak to it. Also, happy Easter. Yes, happy Easter to all those that celebrate Easter. Yes, I am streaming on a Sunday, on Easter Sunday, because I am a heathen. What is church? Do you know what church is? I don't know what church is. I just know they're on tanks. And you can hear a bunch of women from them praising Golden Dude. God, this is so much. Actually, we need to add more green. Very an amazing company. I'm very ambivalent about the setting. Yeah, I don't. If bolt action's more like World War One, isn't it? $30 a tank, $30 for 30 infantry. Buck an infantry, makes sense. That actually sounds not too bad. There we go. World War II. Oh, okay. I do find World War II interesting, but not in the same way that most dudes in their 30s end up being very into World War II. I'm not a historical person, although I do like the what's the Green variant. The Steven Spielberg, the Band of Brothers. I haven't watched Masters of the Air. Sonam actually ended up watching that when we were on a trip, and really liked it, which is surprising. But and funny enough, she's been watching a lot of K-drama. All right, this is kind of getting where I want it to be, because I can start building up from here for concrete and just kind of go from there. They sell a kit for Band of Brother. Oh, cool. They sell a kit for Pacific too. Get more in there. Let's get some. I like North Africa out of every theater, but it gets a little tension and shows. Yeah, everyone forgets about North Africa, but that was mostly just the French messing around with in there, wasn't it? French and the Italians, if I'm remembering correctly. Nobody cares about the French or the Italians. Okay, this is turning out a bit better. Coming out a bit warmer for the purple shadow than I probably would have wanted, but it's gonna make it a lot more interesting overall, which is what I want. Ah, fuck. Yeah. Desert Rats. Oh, the British fighting the Italians in the Africa. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, World War II, not my full cup of tea. I am a sci-fi person. I like my science fiction. Purple being in here in the shadows, so I'll make this a bit more. There we go. This is starting to come out more like it's a shadow of something above it. I just have to blend it more into this side and disperse kind of the shadowy look to it. Tons of side. Ooh. Say more. I mean, I've been on a tear of just science fiction over the last like years. Like, I mean, the amount of times I probably have talked about Adrian Tchaikovsky, which, again, he's one of the best science fiction authors currently. So, very good. Plus with my own projects. So, which is actually what I'm going to be working on over the next little bit, is actually trying to bring out my project, my own story. That's actually what I'm going to be working on mainly for the channel. What I have been working on actually outside of, day job. And why I haven't been doing as much with the channel is because I'm trying to get that together along with other stuff. Yeah. The problem that I'm having right now is, once that actually starts getting with the green and stuff, it's going to be good. Seeds of Earth, Children of Time, to name a few. Seeds of Earth. Don't know about that one. So the problem that I've been kind of running up with in terms of with the story is, like, how do I wanted to get it written, but I also wanted to try and do, like, a kind of preview of, like, here's where the story idea is, here's where things are, but it's like, what do I give away, what do I talk about, what do I gonna go through with this? And when good, someone else has read Children of Time. It's really good. The rest of the series is also really good. Yes, I am. But yeah, so how do I want to kind of build it out? Because, well, when I want to do a video on it, because I'm going to be doing a video on it in the next pretty soon. I want to, what I want to do is bring the story out and have it get the world building. Yeah, very good world building. I want to do one that's basically going over the world building, give an idea of what the story is, what the world is, and how that kind of interacts with everything that's going on with what I'm writing. And I want to do a video on that so that way it can be used, because the setting came generally from like campaigns that I used to run. So there's it was more D&D, but I've kind of adapted what I wanted to make it more seem like science fiction. But when I want to make that video is I want to make sure that I want to do I don't want to have just a talking head video where it's just me going over what the story is, what the setting is, and it's just me there. That's not going to be as interesting. I wanted to try and figure out how I can get visuals to it. How do I get visuals? Should I get someone who's a concept artist to it? That's kind of where I've been sitting with why I have been kind of meandering on whether or not I'll do it. Type of science fiction? Kind of far future. Yes, I know there are TTRPGs. So, but the thing is the setting is more the founding quote of it is, yeah, I'm not doing AI art. That's the one thing I'm refusing to do. The founding underlying thing that I want to do with it, or statement, is the Arthur C. Clarke, any technology that is sufficiently advanced, it will be indistinguishable from magic. And so if there is a world, or there is a technology so advanced, but people forgot that it was technology, they would view it as magic. So that's the founding center of it, of this world, of this story, of everything that's going on with it. That whatever technology was there is no longer known as technology. Right? So, but the thing is, the technology is so advanced is that and so intrinsically connected to the people that your thoughts can make things reality. So, mythological folk tales, things like that, are generated by people. People make these things a reality. If you're jealous of your neighbor, if you're grief-stricken, you might create a monster from the world itself. And so the story kind of centrals around that idea of people that are that have to deal with that. Like, most people don't understand that what they're doing is actually creating the things that they interact with in the world have created the monsters that they have to deal with. But there are people that hunt the monsters specifically, but also try and seek ways to actually prevent people from being disconnected. So it's more about disconnection from community in general, because that disconnection can cause people to feel more dismissed, feel more out of place, and feel more displaced, feel more out of place, and create more monsters. But any of the magic, quote unquote magic, is very much, I want to make sure that is kind of based on what could be done with the sufficiently advanced technology. So if you're a pyromancer, for example, it's actually because you're generating the three things that make fire, but are using the oxygen around you to actually pull the oxygen out and actually create a fireball, for example. Light is just generated by by specific things. The other thing too is that, like, the world itself, and like what I said, is that it's sufficiently advanced technology. And the reason why it can be like this is because it's actually a world in the center of a Dyson sphere, a type 2 civilization on the Kardashev scale. So, do people know the Kardashev scale? If you've heard of it at all, I'll wait until the chat answers to hear if anyone knows the Kardashev scale at all. The three people here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, aware of the Kardashev scale. So, Kardashev scale 1, we are not even a Kardashev scale 1, a civilization. So a Kardashev scale 1 civilization can use all available power and resources available on a singular planet. A Kardashev scale 2 planet would be able to use all the available energy that is exposed by a sun, a star. Kardashev scale 3 is able to use all available and capture all available energy that is within a galaxy. It goes from there. We're like a 0.6 scale civilization, humanity, at the moment. But this in the story, they are a Kardashev scale 2. But the people that actually live there don't know that they are Kardashev scale 2. They don't understand it. But they still see the visibility, see the world, and there are hints that it is actually Kardashev scale 2. So when they look up into the sky, they don't see a galaxy or stars. What they see is a spiral of lights. The stars are a continuous pattern, since they live within in the sphere, or in the Dyson swarm. They're surrounded by it. They see the swarm, a uniform pattern of lights in the sky, all leading up into the north, to where the north is, which is the end of a spiral, essentially. Instead of being a single point, it is a end point of a spiral. So that is what's actually gathering the power that's necessary for whatever the civilization is based off of that swarm that is actually around their star, and they're within it. Yeah. It's going further into, like, even then, like, when the planet there's only the one planet, and when the star, or their sun, comes up into the sky, they don't see, like, another planet. Like, when sun rises, you see Venus and Mercury. Here, because they need to actually gather the power that is coming from the Dyson swarm, it needs to be reflected to somewhere to be captured. There is yes, I am planning on writing. Okay, so I have a couple things on here. I have a couple things that'll deal with it. But so instead of seeing Venus, they see a object that is basically always following the star and always behind it, called the branch and the root, because these lights in the sky are called the leaves. To them, the world is a giant world tree with the star at its center, and they are orbiting the tree. The branch, when the sun rises, they will see a light that comes and heralds the sun as it rises, and that is the leaf, or the branch. That's what I called it. This is the branch. That is actually the place where all the light and energy that is absorbed by the sun from the Dyson swarm is actually aligned to, and any power that needs to be placed to the world is reflected from the branch or the root. Yeah, it's a giant world tree with the star at its center, and that's how they've conceptualized it. But those 2 points in the sky, the branch and the root, are at Lorang point 1 and 2, 3 or 4, or basically they're points within a orbital structure that are balanced, and they can be within the same orbital pattern. It's that way these 2 points are always aligned with the planet, so that way they can aim and put their power to the point. Yeah, Lorang points. Lagrange. I can't pronounce things. I can't pronounce science stuff. Yeah, so they're aimed at those points. And throughout the world, there are at least places where the power is aimed and they look like giant pine cones. And that actually brings that energy and power to the world. This is coming out a lot better. And needs a bit more to... because I need to go back with darker points, because that's the way that concrete works, right? So yeah, so there's, I forget how many. Lorang point 1 is the one that is between 2 objects or in space, and it is a balancing point between those 2 points. So Lorang point 1 is between the Earth and the Sun. This is more trippy than I thought. Yeah. Yeah. This is a whole thing. I've been thinking on this for a very long time. An original or make list idea. Oh, okay. A list idea die. List builds around killing everyone. How valuable would that be? What kind of list? You mean like a 40k list? But yeah, so other than that, that's kind of where I'm going with it. But 40k list that is just around killing everyone. Who valuable would it be? Not very valuable. Killing lists sometimes won't be able to actually can't handle points, and that's the problem. Need to figure out everyone on Earth's name. I need the true name of everyone, so that way I can truly control them. Demon Prince Magnus. Could work, but you can't blend lists like that because it's not viable. I mean, rules as is, like you can't have a knight and 2 huntsmen. You can have 3 huntsmen, but you can't have that. So anyway, the idea that I'm actually going to build out with this story too is that way it is available for people to play as a TTRPG. I have a general rule set that I would like to actually make it viable for people to jump in and try out around in this world setting, essentially. Mainly because in the RP, because I started this off as D&D with the specific entities that I had as gods, essentially. They are something else in the setting. What was I going to say? That's actually coming out really nicely. That looks like shadow now, once I add more color. If you need someone to test it. So I'm actually not going to... I'm going to be using just like simple rules, because the whole point of it is that whatever you can imagine, and as long as it's physically possible as deemed by the game master, is possible. So because in this world, people who have an issue, so someone's in a fight with someone and it's not being resolved properly, it generates like envy, might create a goblin. That goblin can cause a lot of issues for people. The Jaggers, the hunters, the people that are there to basically hunt these monsters, have the ability to use the power of the world to create whatever they want. Whatever your minds, it's so intrinsically connected, you can do whatever you want with it. As long as it's physically possible, it is physically capable of happening. You want to be a pyromancer? Sure, it can make sense physically if you had the power enough to do it, which you do here. So whatever you imagine can become reality. With the TTRPG is basically you would be going into a village, finding out that there's goblins, but the only problem is if you just kill the goblins and don't resolve the mental, the social hang-up that is causing the goblins will keep coming back. Because people's minds are so intrinsically connected to the world that they make things. Exactly, yeah. There has to be some guidelines, and that's where like I would try and build it out, but that's, I want to build the setting. I have that setting kind of made, and then I'll just like adapt maybe some D&D rules, something easy enough that makes it simple. But I do want to go from overall that idea. All right, I'm also going to start adding some green. Yeah, adding there will be bounds, but I was thinking about creating the setting, doing a video on the setting, and having that so that way on the Discord people can make games and kind of report them a little bit, so it can become a lot more interactive than that way. My main story is going to be a lot more broad, but because it's a lot more specific, it's a lot more pointed to, you know, the general bigger story. That wouldn't be too interactive, but like I want the world to be available, and so that way people can do whatever they want within it almost. I have a friend trying to make one, and he wants to be able to make up spells, but since no one had basis to work on, people struggle to come up. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of going with. It's almost like I kind of almost compare it a little bit to, I need a Sharpie thing, because this crap. No, I'm not going to use this green. I'm going to use the AK green, deep green. Kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. It's mostly based in reality ish. But you have to be able to like explain it in some way. But yeah, I found a solution to murder box spring gun. Probably need to dismount the infantry in the air, probably objective, and then use the second lieutenant to move the other transport, providing tons of fire. Okay, that sounds good. Let's get some. Yeah, this color is actually matching up to the original concrete, at least. But yeah, I have already started writing quite a bit for it. I have the outline general for the book. At least the first portion of the story that I wanted to go with, and I was gonna start actually reporting it, or going on using the channel basically to go over the story and have people's inputs, especially you guys. You guys have been around for a bit. I appreciate you. It's all a matter of just starting. But I've had this idea for such a long time. Sonam likes to joke that I've been working on it for 8 years. So I'm just kind of excited to start. After the last little like couple of weeks, like I've written quite a bit already. I have an entire book of just like of just world building aspect, so that way it's there. Like the whole idea of the leaves, the way that the people would actually like integrate and see the stars as being like leaves in the sky. A little bit of like a creation myth of like how it actually came to a bit more of a reality. And there was a stupid thing that I decided to make, was the idea of like astrology. Most people look up to the sky and they like make astrology and like, oh, you like Mercury's in retrograde, so be careful of crossing the street. I wanted to try and see how that would be, kind of how someone would integrate that into a society essentially that doesn't have stars. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, mostly as long as it doesn't have any direct interaction with the main storyline that I'm kind of working, which was just broader. So like stories about the hunters basically having to deal with specific things. Think about, and The Witcher, there's the side stories that people of the mother that was buried and the baby was born and the baby was a monster. The certain set of circumstances that created it could be explained by a story. And the same thing kind of goes in this world, because it's all generally folk tales. A kid that is told that they'll see something, but if they say anything while they're trying to leave, causes hounds to come and kill them. They're like hunting hounds, which is the hounds of Actaron, which is when Actaron actually sees Diana, the hunter goddess, naked in a thing. She says, "Do not speak as you leave, or you will die." And he does, and he's hunted by his hounds. Someone that is told, "Do not say anything while you are here," and then does so, creates hounds to appear, like phantasms of hounds that would hunt them down and kill anything within sight. That could be a story that if someone wanted to actually write within it. But like in The Witcher, yeah, you have those other, like, it's, the whole idea is that it's folk tales. Folk tales are creating like things embedded in our minds, and the way that the world works actually is creating monsters. A banshee is a wailing woman, so stricken with grief that she creates a phantasm that whose scream could cause you to basically die, essentially, to hear the banshee scream. Making works and stuff is never going to fall to the established lore, and they can never. Yeah, exactly. Don't mess with anything else. Anyway, I'm gonna be we had so many visitors over the last like 2 weeks. I haven't had as much time as I wanted to actually get some stuff made. Here, I'm gonna start working on the green now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole idea is that it's an entire world. The main story I'm kind of setting up for is starting off in Space Venice, pretty much. Like, it starts off in Venice, and it's mostly contained in that one area for the first little bit. I need the green. So where's deep green? Did I already grab it? I did grab the deep green. Yeah, I've noticed that. They're like, what is it? I've been going through the Eisenhorn series, and it doesn't really have any bearing on anything other than the Eisenhorn series because 40K is so large, you can't have interactions. Except for what I've heard about the Bequin series. I have heard some shenanigans. So, we'll see about that. I need to add in... Alright, time to add the green. I mean, the whole point of it is that there's so many people that are in this world that you'd have to have multiple groups that are just there to deal with small scale stories, small scale, like, personal stories. And I want to try and be able to draw on as much, like, actual real folklore as possible. And I'm just one person. I don't have the, like, expansion of, like, lore of folktales to be able to, like, properly write out really good stories like that. But I know, like, if it's broad enough for people to actually try and work into it, other people have such great histories of folklore that they can draw upon. So yeah, I'm gonna have a big thing on that soon-ish. TM. Don't quote me on it, please. I'm probably just gonna do the talking head, just to kind of go over setting, what I'm working on, and how I am going to start going forward on it. What I'll probably do is I'm gonna try and do release of, like, chapters over time. But, like I said, it all depends on how things are received. Yeah. There's so many little individual things that will have no bearing on it, but they're important to how the world kind of feels. But I really want to be able to bring in, like, how of really just people. It is people. Anyway. I'm trying to make this look like... I'm coming out happy with it. The whole, yeah, sure, something with people nearly die for stakes seemed laughable when you read another story. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, it's coming out kind of concrete-ish. Yeah. This is where the feet will go. I need more of the concrete. Yeah. I mean, my main thing is very focused on specifically the personal stakes of two brothers and someone else that they've come to meet and interact with. That's the central story I'm working with. I'm not going with anything like, Game of Thrones level. I want to make it so that way the main story I'm working on is very, very directed, very much personal, and not that's what I want to go with. And go here, and then I gotta add in some darker areas after. I'm also trying to make sure that like characters in this world are, or at least in the story, are real. So I've also have like a backdrop of like people that I know and kind of build on for reference. All right. Let's go. One sets the tone for what kind of, it's it's two brothers that are trying to run, that are on the run from basically the Inquisition. Kind of what it is. That's but at least then they come from a part of the world that's less normal, like the use of the power, like whatever power it is, the magic in the world is not as like prevalent. They can use it, but they're not as well versed in it because it's not as well, it's not seen as good, as nice, essentially. All right, let's get back to some of that brown. Not the slums. It's more like what's the best kind of real world example that I can use here? It's kind of like it's religiously frowned upon, and in the part of the world that they come from, it's dangerous. It's not it's dangerous. It's not to be used. So people that use it are more ostracized or might be hunted down specifically because they have more access to it. Because like everyone in some way has a connection to it, but some people have more connection to it than others. So that is, they're coming from that part of the world. They have more use of it and they can access it, but they don't know fully. That makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's like you move from like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia to Canada. Like you come here and like, yeah, the Amish. Exactly, yeah. Naturally, the Amish make more sense. They frown the use of this power and this technology, essentially. But there's like a very like in-world reason why they fear it. And why like it's a little bit more like looked down upon from their perspective. This is kind of interesting. It's meant to look like dirty concrete. So not because they hate tech, they actually have a reason. Yes, but again, they don't know. No one in the world really knows that it is technology. They just see it as a natural state of the world. We don't think of the way electricity works as anything like magical or anything. We just see it as the way the world works or the way that fire spreads. right? It just works that way. But they don't like the use of it. I'm enjoying this, actually. This is fun. How does this look from... It looks really funky. Alright, I think I have it. I mean, thunder is natural, so I mean, electricity is something natural. Exactly, yeah. It's kind of what I mean. Is... Well, I mean... Man, I really gotta squeeze out this brush. It's funky. It's funky. I've had this idea for a very long time, and I just feel like I'm in the right place to start working on it. Or not working on it, but to start like at least bringing it more to the world. I also, when I was first contemplating whether or not I would bring this to the channel, I was wondering to myself, how could I do this in a way that like fits with the channel? Like, how much do I want to hide of what the world is actually like, because I'm trying to not make the story too much, like make it not as big of a part of the story. Let's try and give more defined edges to things. So like, do I, like when I start announcing or like going over the setting and stuff, do I actually say like, hey, if you want to go follow along with the story as the character that doesn't know about that fact that they actually live in a Dyson sphere, skip this part, go to this timestamp. But I've also realized that like when I actually start the story, I'm making kind of hints anyway, in the way that I'm like, the main character has dreams almost that basically tell the story of the world. So that way it's there, but it's not direct, right? So you don't directly know, but like it's very well laid out in like a very abstract way that if you were very interested, you could be like, oh, right. So like this creation story that's about, you know, the gods fighting a dragon and ripping apart mountains to throw leaves into the sky is actually about how they turned the solar system they found into a Dyson sphere, or like created the leaves out of the planets that floated around the dragon and turned it into a yeah. And even then, like, it just explains the astrology a little bit, but in an abstract way. But if you actually dug into it, like took the more abstract mythical aspect of it away, you would be like, oh right, yeah, it is a Dyson sphere. Let's see. Yeah, so it's the world building is going to be... I got a lot of world building that I've put into this over, like, years. Like, why the gods, which I think I'm going to call the Aether. I'm going to rewatch them and make notes about the world. Yeah. Like, the Aether What was I gonna say? Yeah, the gods. I mean, not directly call them gods at this point. They. What was the point I was gonna make? I forget what it is. Like, I made the gods years ago, but they're all basically direct aspects of humanity. They're literally born from humanity, from the minds of humans, because in the way that Athena was born from Zeus's mind, these gods were born from the minds of humanity. I need some of that darker brown. Yeah, absolutely. Where's this book? I've been handwriting all of it. All of my thing in a giant moleskin thing on my notes of world building, especially when I've changed things, how groups interact with one another, what the gods are specifically like, what their realms are also like. Because I forget what it is. Not greed and pleasure. No, it's more. So there's specifically 9 of them, and they're more aspects of humanity as a whole. So you have the first one, Philidias, that is the mother and the hunter. Ooh, that's much better. I like that better. She is motherhood, and she is the hunter, the protector. And Philidias is actually a goddess from Irish mythology. Or you have like the storyteller, Hom, which is Homer. That's all about poetry, art, theater, illusions. You have Mendes, who's like specifically around knowledge. You have Keziah, who's more about healing and trauma. Callus, who is about perseverance. They each have their own individual aspects that come from humanity. This will look better once the knight is actually on here, because then it doesn't look like it's just like a purple blob. And everything is quite irregular, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So no, not safe for work. The ocular tend isn't not safe for work. Yeah, exactly. I mean, originally, I had thought of Keziah. I forget what I originally had her names, but Keziah is from. Keziah is the first album of one of my favorite bands, or they were one of my favorite bands because of this album. But Keziah originally was of torment and vengeance. Her story was not exactly like a great story. I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time, as I was looking back on it, it makes more sense for the goddess that's more about like having gone through trauma, because she was intrinsically connected to Callus, to be less about just eking out vengeance, to be more about healing from that trauma and healing from whatever comes from perseverance that cannot be directly just persevered. But yes. Yeah, I know. Slaanesh is such a weird state. Like, it's pleasure, but it's not really like anything direct. So the other thing too is these are not chaos gods. This is not chaos gods light. Okay. I need more flat places that are more, because concrete has these like flatter parts that are less textured. Slash is such a funky thing because it is an very interesting god, and there's some really cool stories that could be written around it, but it's not marketable. It's just on that cusp of like, how do you appropriately like just like market a very god that is specifically about it. Oh, Greek. I just want a horny god, you know, how funny that would be. Horny platonic Greek. God damn, the Greeks were horny. The Greeks are the Greek myths are the literal definition of horny on main. Man, my favorite thing is actually to go back and look at like Greek gods, and it's hard to be like, there's so many things that looking on it from a modern perspective is just hilarious, because it's like, this is not kosher, but it's also, they're not supposed to be perfect beings. They're supposed to be explicitly meant to be, you know, views of the world as we see it and see how the world is around us. It's more of like the folk mythology than it is you know, perfect divine views that we have nowadays. I have to. Greek gods were horny, dear Lord. I would like to see a modern version of Greek myths that would actually, that would be hilarious if like there was a series that's literally just take the Greek gods as they were, like no filter, no nothing, like directly tell the stories, and how, you know, how canceled Zeus gets. This looks horrific. It's not terrible. I'm not terrible with this. Only 2 people. Only down to 2. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be starting quite a bit with my own stuff. The GW stuff was starting to get hard to keep up with. I'm not I love the GW stuff. I love talking about it, but I'm not as much of a let's see. Once that's on there, you kind of get the idea that it needs to brighten up on those spots. Okay. I'm more interested in doing my own stuff, so I'm very excited for this project as it goes forward. And I'll see how it goes. I'm hoping everyone enjoys it as much as I enjoy talking about it, because I like talking about things. Needs to look more like concrete. Alright, I also need to take out the purple that I put in here, because I think the purple and the green was just not working as well. Oops, and you keep that on screen. This green actually comes out really nice. It starts off very vibrant. And it kind of darkens up, which is nice. That's fair. I can tell you haven't given up on GW. I lean to the... Yeah, that's the thing, is like it's also trying to keep up content wise with other 40k like creators and stuff is just hard. And I'll be completely honest. Like, I was completely in a burnt out state anyway, coming up into the summer and stuff. Like, mentally completely burnt out. So I think coming back to stuff of my own is a healthier state for me than trying to, play into the rat race of YouTube. It's a paradox. Many people and machines are fucking impossible to keep up with them. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Also, I noticed this trend that, especially on YouTube, is like, you either stop creating content or you start creating shit posts. And I don't ever really want to get to a point where I have to deal with YouTube drama or try and make stuff up in order to keep up with content, to try and play the rat race of that. It's not what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in doing it, and I'm not gonna bemoan anyone that does it. But like, when the whole event with Major Kill was happening, or not the whole event, when he basically had a whole video come out where he's like, what was it, Wes Hammer? Wes Hammer's been stealing my shit. Like, he's taking my content and he's ripping everything that I do. You could it was like he ran out of content to make, so he had to make content up outside of the actual lore. And I don't want to get to that space. I also don't want to have to trying to deal with, people saying like, oh, you're just doing this because I did it. It's like, well, no, I'm not. Making my own stuff, I can actually directly say like, nope, I am not. I like making my own stories, making my own stuff doesn't means that I can't copy anyone. It is my stories, my ideas. It is not anyone else's, and you can't. And it's, whereas if I'm doing lore and stuff, yeah, it's easy to go like, oh, well, it's my video idea. I feel more comfortable doing it as my own stories. I'm gonna get some of the. Yeah. YouTube drama makes me question why humanity exists when I hear about Discord drama. Meteor. Where is that meteor? When's it coming? No, 100%. Needs to look more like concrete, less purpley. It's supposed to look like dirty concrete. That can stay shadowy. I'm gonna add some. But yeah, exactly. If I'm doing my own thing, making my own stories, it's harder to make that accusation. I mean, not to say that like I'm gonna be coming up fully with my own, like, inspiration is a thing. Like, I can be inspired by other stories and Adrian Tchaikovsky, but I'm not gonna be. It is gonna be my own work. It's not like it's gonna be. Yeah, you know what I think people get what I mean. Let's just do some dry brushing on this point. I tried writing stuff set in Warhammer. She's trying to find a balance between satire and serious and knowing people pretend you're at best. The other thing is the style of writing that I find. I don't know if it's not really Dan Abnett. This is actually just a very common thing within 40K authorship. Only a few I find have gotten around it. It's more in the like Necron books and a few other places, but especially in the Horus Heresy. There's this tendency to write it as if it's a memoir. So you have the most egregious example of this was during the Siege of Terra. Because it's written as a memoir. You have a part with Arkin, and he's in the middle of a battle, and he's trying to make his way to the Imperial Palace after the center of the Imperial Palace, because this outer sanctum, or the inner sanctum, has been breached, and he's going from bastion to bastion trying to make his way through. And I don't know anything about Arkin Land. I don't know when he's died. I don't know anything. I haven't looked into it. I'm not interested. And I'm not interested in that part as much. But in the middle of a battle where I don't know if Arkin is going to die here or not, they flip over and say Arkin would later talk about this and say that he was honorable and stuff, whereas he was actually a coward in this moment. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know if that character is going to die. I don't know what is going on with this scene, and I'm just completely sucked out of it because you need to say, like, later on he was talking to a friend at a party, and it's like, but what tension? You just sucked the tension completely out, and it was Gates of Eternity. It was the one. It was the ADB, Aaron Dembski bound one. But it's like, what? Like, why would you take away the tension of this battle by saying, like, oh yeah, he would later talk? Shut up. And he did it multiple times with multiple characters. Like, I don't care. Stop this. Be consistent. And Dan Abnett does it a few times too, where like all substance of the tension of whether or not a character is going to die is just sucked away. I hate it. But yeah, and it's because you have that, like you were saying, like enough satire to make it. It is satire, but it has to be serious. But it also has to be like backwards compatible with other lore, which means that you almost have to make these statements of this character lived at this point. But it sucks if you don't know the entire lore, because then tension is sucked out of it by saying like they did live in that situation. But it is satire, but it's not. It's frustrating to me. Yeah, people do take Warhammer way too seriously when it is supposed to be not serious. With my own stuff that I want to work on, it's more about being upfront. This is going to be serious. There's going to be things that are funny, but it comes up. Yeah, it is satire, but it is a space opera. You're right. Like, and yeah, 100%. And space operas are not a bad thing. I love space operas. And I also think it's just grown too far beyond its own scope to be one thing. So it's hard for you to reconcile all those different storylines and story plots and types of story. I do think the Mike Brooks, the guy who wrote Assassinorum, also did Divine, The Infinite and Divine. The new Necron books, Mike Brooks and a few others have done a very good job of like actually making it serious with funny parts and being satirical at the same time. But there's just too much that needs to blend. I'm gonna try this out here. No, it needs to come off a little bit. I like Warhammer not because of the satire, but because how fucking cool it is. Love the old one. Wildtowers, Judge Fred satire. Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot that's cool about it, as long as you don't take it too seriously. It's fun. Just don't take it too seriously. I mean, yeah, 100% to be honest. I like it because it's fucking dope. giant robots. That's awesome. And the stories can be really goddamn good, like when they're dope. Like Assassinorum Kingmaker, really good because it's about giant robots and it's hilarious. And it is awesome. Giant robots, assassins, and political machinations. Dope. Let's just lightly dry brush this. I think about it seriously as someone who takes Star Wars. It's a cruel world, but cruel people. Sometimes rooting for the bad guys fine. Exactly. Let's mix in. All right. Anyway, I'm just about finished with this base before I implode and hate myself for everything I did with this. Because I'm eventually going to put cracks on here, which are dark, dark, dark lines. This looks not the happiest with it. True. Very, very different. Not the happiest with this, but I'm gonna happy on the experiment side. All right. Before I drive myself too crazy, I'm gonna pop off on this. This is a good experiment though. How to make concrete look like concrete. Maybe I need some gray in there. This is a good try. I'm gonna bring it up. Like mossy. I think, yeah, in the models on here, the purple will make more sense. But I think it needs to be more brown to tie in a bit better. Anyway. Helldiver's fun, but the whole base of it is satire from the beginning to end. We're much more in depth. Yes. Helldivers is 100% satire. It is Starship Troopers, the movie, which is incredible, and I love that movie so much. But if you try and take it seriously, you're doing it wrong. Whereas you can take Warhammer seriously within itself. It's all good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna head off for now. I'm gonna make that new video. Look for that in the next couple of weeks. We'll put it up on the Discord. I'm gonna try and make a plan out for how I want to do things with broadening this and making it available for people. But for now, I'm out. Let's see. How can I? I'm gonna say hi. No. Yeah. Okay, this is no. Nothing's working. This is chaos. All right. Stream's ending.